Arlene Williams is our guest. I'm Paul Durienzo with Miss Joan Marie Musi, and we have
Ken
Unger on the telephone, who's the subject of our discussion. He's calling us from outside of St. Louis, Missouri.
Exactly.
Yes, in St. Charles, Missouri.
St. Charles. So, Arlene, let me throw it to you again to just introduce who our guest is.
Well, he's Ken Unger. He's a excuse me, 100% disabled Navy veteran. He was in Grenada serving, and I believe that's where he was injured, his back. He has had 3 major heart attacks, probably as a result of overly prescribed opiates. At one point, he was on 60 milligrams of morphine a day. And he has 6 stents in his heart, plus he's a diabetic.
And how does this connect to marijuana?
Well, he was tired of being sick all the time and the side effects that he was suffering. And he decided to try the marijuana, and of course he couldn't afford it. He lives on his pension and SSI. So the alternative was to grow it, you know. And he kept it in a secured, locked place. He explained, he was the only one with the key. He explained it to his 11-year-old son, his wife, you know, of why he was doing it. And it was medicinal, and it was helping him. And undoubtedly, it had to be the neighbors that had smelled it. And anyway, he could tell you what
let's take
happened.
it up. Now we're going to toss it, because we have Ken Unger with us on the phone. And Ken, is that pretty much the story? Is there more to it?
No, that's pretty much it. After about 13 years of opiate therapy for pain control, I just couldn't live with the pain, the sickness and the side effects anymore.
Uh-huh. So tell me exactly, could you recount to us the story? How is your case playing out right now?
Right now, I'm just before pleading. December 20th is when I plead. My lawyer has to get a continuance at that point in time to find out exactly what I'm charged with, you know, the specifics of the charges.
Now, can you use a medical marijuana defense in Missouri?
No.
No, there is no medical marijuana in Missouri. I was trapped between a rock and a hard place.
Like many people can.
I mean, the fact of it is, I could no longer continue to survive on the heavy narcotics. I was sick every day. I was throwing up every morning. My son saw me as a frantic old man who was just half insane some of the time because of the pain. I needed to find something that would relieve the pain without all these side effects. And the only thing that ever did that for me was marijuana. It took me a long time to learn how to grow correctly because I had to do it all quietly. And I was finally getting to the point where I was able to start walking around my neighborhood, where I was able to do more than 2 blocks without absolutely falling out. When the arrest came.
Now, Ken, how is your health status right now?
My health status is fallen. As a matter of fact, while I was in jail, I was told to have my blood tested at each meal and then 2 hours after each meal. None of that was ever done. They overdosed me on my blood sugar medication. They overdosed me on my blood pressure medication because they wouldn't take anything that I had to say about it, and they wouldn't read the bottle. Right now, I'm living in a constant pain hell because I'm not going back to narcotics for pain relief.
Are you subject to drug testing, random drug testing?
Not at this point in time. Not until they put me on probation, if that's what they're planning on doing.
I see.
Now, Ken, are you getting support from, do you have a support group behind you, a defense committee?
That's what I've been
no,
trying
I
to
do
help.
not. Other than Arlene and my wife and son, not really. No.
How about the community? First, what do you face? What's the potential sentence in this?
The potential sentence for anything over 5 grams is 5 to 15 years. Most people have been telling me that because I've never been convicted of anything, I haven't had so much as a traffic ticket, that they'll probably put me on probation. But I fear that as much as going to jail, because honestly, I have degenerative disc in my back. I have a number of bad discs in my back that causes me continuous pain. I cannot live on narcotics anymore.
So, Arlene, why don't we give out your website so people who are interested in the case can read about it, and maybe we can rally some support for Ken.
Oh, I've tried, and I hope so. It's www.greenribbonworld.com.
Greenribbonworld.com.
Yeah, greenribbonworld.com. I'm Ganja Granny.
And you'll have information about
and
the
there's
case there.
plenty of information. Good. I've been writing about it for a few weeks now in the blog that's on there. And
well, let's get this information out. People who are interested in helping out, contact Arlene, and let's see if we can get a defense committee for Ken.
Mm-hmm. That's my goal, to try to get some support.
Thank you again, Arlene.
Yeah. Oh, don't thank me, please.
Hey, we should be thanking you. This is a person who served our country in the
really?
military. There's absolutely no reason why he should be treated this way. He's ill. He's doing better for himself than the medical community's done for him.
I mean,
Opiates are not the answer.
He never has gotten a traffic ticket. No, I mean, he's the perfect poster guy for our movement for legalization, whether it's medicinal or recreational or what have you. I really want to see him get some help. There's over 800,000 people a year that are arrested. I grant you, we can't help every single person, but
many people have medical problems, and they are put in this bind. That we've talked to people who were in car accidents, had pain from that, finally found relief with marijuana, finally got off of opiates and all the terrible side effects they were having in their lives. And then to have the legal community turn on them is absolutely
and then to be arrested like you're a terrorist. I mean, did 12 cops really need to come in and take him out?
Mm-hmm. Ken, why don't you describe the incident of your arrest? How did that happen?
Well, it happened on September 9th. I heard a pounding at my door. I was downstairs in my basement watching television. By the time I hit the top of the stairs, there was at least 6 cops inside the house with automatic weapons drawn, pointing M4 machine guns, the same thing that you see them using in Afghanistan and Iraq. Telling me to get down, and I was begging them, you know, I am a disabled veteran. I have spinal problems. I cannot get down without it causing a major amount of pain. And they decided that I needed to be thrown down to the ground.
Were you dressed?
I didn't have my shoes on or anything. I was at home. But all I had was shirt and pants on.
How much marijuana are they claiming was there?
Well, I don't know how much they're claiming. There was only 2 plants left because I just had this fear that they were coming after me. I don't know why.
2? Oh, so they thought there might have been more.
Well, you know, we saw an exhibit.
They kept on pressing me for the information on where the rest of it was.
You know, it's interesting because it seems to be the expense of law enforcement in this case, when there's people, you know, with meth labs, and they're just going and producing tons of that stuff, and nothing's happening.
But also,
Well, I also found it odd that most of the people around here have seen me walking around, and I can barely walk 2 blocks without having to stop. And most of the people around here thought that the cops were here to arrest me for meth lab. And I found it very insulting, you know, that they could see my son, they could see my wife, they could see me, and assume that I would do something like that, poison their children like that.
Interesting.
well, let's give out your website again because we really need to rally support.
www.greenribbonworld.com.
You can go there for more information because it's not a crime to be sick. It's not a crime to try to help yourself.
Now, Ken Unger, I wanted to ask you some more about what is the. Have there been any public pronouncements in the media in your community about this? Has it been in the newspapers?
Well, at the same time that they arrested me, there was a man named Kenneth Wells who was arrested for almost the exact same crime.
January '08, he was arrested for
And,
1.5 pounds of marijuana, and he had chronic epilepsy.
Really?
And he was smoking to keep himself from having problems with seizure disorder. And they were releasing him at the same time they were arresting me.
The charges were, dropped in September. It took him 2 years to fight this in a ton of money.
Have they made any offers to you at all yet?
No, none whatsoever. But I mean, honestly, I can't afford very much at all.
Right.
I'm a disabled veteran. I'm living on veterans benefits. We are going from paycheck to paycheck household.
Right.
Any push they push on us, and we're going to be homeless.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
this
the
Ken,
reason I got my lawyer was the basis that she was willing to take payments. Most of them wanted a couple grand up front.
In advance,
Who's got that kind of money these days?
Absolutely. And this is a person who served our country, who's just trying to help himself not be addicted to opiates.
exactly.
And to give himself a standard of living that's
How do you think? Do you concur with what Arlene was suggesting earlier, that it was an informant who basically turned you in?
Well, that's at least what we know so far. That's at least what the lawyer's been telling us.
I see.
We don't know who, and I was made to sign a document before I would be able to be released on bail, saying that I would not pursue the person who did it. It had no name on it or anything, so I don't know who I'm supposed to stay away from, but yeah,
Blank
but
check.
I'm supposed to stay away from someone in my neighborhood because they're afraid that a 52-year-old handicapped man is going to come and threaten them.
Is it always possible that someone could be arrested for a small amount of this or that, and then offer somebody up, even a former friend, in order to get a lighter sentence for themselves or to get a break?
I'm not going to. There's nothing to break for because honestly, I was the only one involved in my great big drug ring. I was the only one consuming the product. I was the only one who knew the count of how many plants were back there. I went in there and smelled the flowers. You know, nobody else knew anything.
And it was secured and locked.
Yes, I kept it locked up because
You had the only key, I understand.
yeah, I kept it locked up because I wanted there to be a defense for my wife and my son if they should ever come after me. My wife doesn't use pot in any way, and my son is, an innocent bystander. He's just it's easier for him to have a daddy who might be smoking marijuana than a daddy who's eating morphine on a daily basis.
Right, and incapacitated
Exactly.
by that.
I've been there. I
How's
understand.
it, now in how are the citizens?
Treating me when VA first started treating me?
Mhm.
They started treating me with 1,650 milligrams of hydrocodone and 60 milligrams of morphine. Back about 2005, I don't know if you all heard about it, that Rush Limbaugh was caught shopping for pharmaceutical drugs,
That's right.
Yeah.
mostly Vicodin.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the VA could no longer allow me to have Vicodin, even though I had been on it for 5 years, because they were afraid that I might become addicted. But I can have all the morphine I wanted.
It's so crazy. It really is.
I swear to God, this is what they told me. They were so afraid that I might become addicted to the hydrocodone that they had to discontinue my use of it.
This
I
other
just
Kenneth
continue-
that was arrested, they dropped the charges, providing he doesn't get in any trouble for the next 2 years. And they basically told him, you have a choice. You can move, you know, where it's legal. And
Have they said things like that? Have you? What's your fellow in your community? What's the reaction to your arrest as far
Actually,
as?
in my community, most people are saying that I should move. And I am just totally freaked out by it because
So there isn't like a because we've had
his
like
family,
Prop-
all the families
Proposition 19. We've had so many advances in a lot of different states, but Missouri.
there's a large community. There's a large percentage of the community that strongly believes that there should be medical marijuana.
There was a meeting
But
tonight
they're
there in
unwilling
St.
to do
Louis.
anything more than just suggest it. Because when push comes to shove, they'd rather count their money.
So there hasn't been a referendum in Missouri
No.
at all.
No.
Yeah, it's a conservative state, and even though there's a lot of people who like it, you have to defeat a lot of ingrown ideas,
But it's a
basically.
question of
doing it a
compassion.
certain way.
It's a question of
Yeah.
letting...
Plus, that none of the politicians who even ran for office out here was anything other than Republican.
That
Every
one lady,
single one of them.
that
But now
one
they're
lady was a
saying some of the
Democrat.
Republican Party is behind marijuana too, so...
What they're
hard
selling
to
it?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
seem to be a contradiction in terms if they really want to cut the budget. Why would you expend the kind of money that they expended sending 12 police officers to arrest one handicapped man?
For 2 plants.
Right.
I mean,
Well-
I can't imagine that they sold my equipment for money enough to cover the cost of overtime and everything
You
else.
sold your equipment. What do you mean by sold your equipment?
They sold it.
They sold. That's what I mean. They sold your equipment. I don't.
They took all my lights and everything.
And sold it.
Well, they have
I
a police
assume they
auction.
sold it unless they're
What
they're
the-
using it for the 3rd degree or something. I can't imagine what you would do with a 1,000-watt metal halide light unless you were doing 3rd degree. 3rd, 4th, 5th, I don't know.
Well, I think when this is over, I mean, you should probably consider moving, or you
I
could
honestly don't have a choice.
but you could become an activist also.
Well,
Well, right now-
actually, I'm going to try to see if I can become a refugee
A refugee.
in Colorado. And
I'd invite you to
not
New York,
living
but we have the
in
same
afraid all
problem
the
here.
time.
Somebody's been trying to call us on the other line. Do you want to give it a shot? I don't know who it is.
Possible
Let's pick it up.
too?
Yeah. Hi, you're on. Hello?
Hello.
I guess not. It was just a light, a phantom light. Okay, Ken Unger, this has been a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate having you on and talking about your case. Maybe you could just, Arlene Williams and Ken, who are on the line, could, in the last couple of minutes, just sum up what's happening and what should happen.
Well,
Well,
I'm trying to get as much support as I can for him. On the 20th, I had considered flying to St. Louis, but he's only going to make a plea. So once we see what's going to happen and where it's going, I probably will go out there to be in court, and God willing. And I think I would like to pack that courtroom with as many supporters as possible.
All right, so you got to
And-
get the word out then.
And so, Ken, you're-
And we're writing letters to the newspapers. I did get a couple in today, and we're going to try to
Okay, we're coming to an end. Your website is
greenribbonworld.com.
greenribbonworld.com. Last words, Ken Unger.
I can't thank Arlene enough, and I cannot thank you all enough because honestly, I felt totally alone. I felt totally alone with this whole thing sitting over me and my family's head, and I really appreciate, just the support.
Well,
Okay.
let's follow up on what's happening, and let's get some people at
Right.
greenribbonworld.com to
All right.
participate in the defense committee.
All right, we'll get people knowing about it here in New York City. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
You're very
Ken.
welcome.
God bless
Take
all
care,
the
Ken.
good stuff coming your
All
way.
So thank you, Arlene Williams, for joining us.
Thank you.
greenribbonworld.com. See you next week.